Welcome to the NCS Women in Tech podcast. I'm Wynthia. I'm heading up Next Digital at NCS, and recently I was one of the 100 recipients of the inaugural SG 100 Women in Tech. I know from my personal experience how important role models have been to my own career, and I've roped in a number of women leaders in NCS to join me in this podcast. I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions at them and have an interesting conversation about what it means to be a woman in the tech sector today. And hopefully, our conversations will encourage more women to join the tech industry. And that is how the podcast is born. It is my pleasure to invite our next guest, Hui Yin. Hi, Hui Yin.
Hello, Wynthia.
So, Hui Yin, tell everybody what are you doing in NCS?
I'm currently a growth lead in communications engineering, looking after growth areas in communication solutions. So these 2 years, I'm focusing in 5G.
Oh, okay. I'm definitely going to ask you more about the 5G in a second. But before that, what's comms engineering?
Comms engineering is an engineering arm within NCS. We all know that NCS is an IT company, but we actually have an engineering division within NCS. And in comms engineering, we deal with projects related to comms, obviously. We do comms infrastructure. We also do IoT projects. We also have command and control systems. So this is what comms engineering are.
So you're the part of NCS that get to play with IoT sensors, cameras, robots. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Thinking about your role now, did you always wanted to play such a role? Like starting out in your career, was this what you were expecting to work towards?
Not really, actually. I started my current role last year in 2019. I have a background in communications, so this 2 years, like I mentioned, I focus in 5G. I have always wanted to do something new, like business development in new areas. I was doing a little bit of that before 2019, but my previous role was more focusing on chasing near-term numbers. So I didn't have a lot of time doing new things, new business. So with my current role, I'm happy because I can do that. And because the new role means new technology, new challenges, and there are many unknowns in new technologies, right? So it means new opportunity as well. Yeah. So it's something that I like to do, but I didn't foresee that I will be doing this when I first started.
So 5G is a very exciting area, and it seems to be on everyone's radar. Suddenly, everybody is talking about it. So, can you tell us and our listeners a bit more about 5G? What should we all know about 5G? Is it really going to change our lives?
5G can deliver very high speed, 10 times faster than 4G, very low latency, and millions of connections within 1 kilometer square. So with this capability, it definitely can enable very different applications for our customers and for the consumers. So things like autonomous vehicle that we don't really do now, it can be enabled with 5G, and things like robotics, AR, VR, all these will be able to materialize when 5G is here.
So, in the 5G area, is it a field that is heavily male dominated?
I would say in communications area, majority is still male dominated, and female is kind of underrepresented. Yeah, in the communications area.
So, why do you think women are underrepresented? What would encourage more women to consider joining this field?
I think especially in my area, which is more engineering than IT, the female population is definitely much smaller. I still remember when I was an engineer doing projects, I need to go to MRT tunnels in the middle of the night. And I took a taxi from my home at 11 p.m. to the MRT stations. And the taxi driver asked me, why are you going to MRT station at this hour? And obviously my mom, she was worried as well because her daughter is working outside at this wee hour and coming back home at 5 a.m. in the morning, right? So although Singapore is, still a relatively safe country, but then these are still valid concerns lah. And other than MRT tunnels, I also go to other sites. It could be a very nice shopping mall, but it could also be a construction site. So I can imagine some, not many ladies would like to be in this kind of environment, this kind of harsh environment. So, but this was where I started. So yeah.
So what about these roles did you find exciting?
I actually find it interesting because you don't see many females in this kind of environment. Yeah, so the experience that I gain is actually interesting and rare because I am the minority. Yeah.
Looking at your career where you started in engineering roles and then you've taken on other roles where you're focusing and chasing numbers and now looking after innovation areas like 5G, what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way that you'd like to share with our listeners?
One thing I have learned is that never limit yourself. Always push yourself, even if there's something beyond your comfort zone. Because when I was a young engineer, I was doing projects, right? And then I was doing quite well managing projects. And my boss then asked me if I want to do sales, be a account and manager. And I told him, no, I don't like to do sales. I don't have the traits of a salesperson and I don't think I can do well. But my boss then, he wanted me to try. And then he said, if I really don't like it, I can still go back to do my projects. So looking back, actually, I'm quite grateful that he pushed me, and because in the end, it actually turned out quite well. And yeah, so the thing that I learned is that never say no, always try to say yes to something, even
Be
if
willing
it's
to try out
yeah,
new challenges.
yeah, correct. And that's how you grow in your career. Yeah.
This podcast is called the NCS Women in Tech, but really we're talking about diversity. So what does diversity mean to you?
I think it means all kinds of people, all kinds of voices, different races, different religions. Yeah, so to me, all these are diversity.
How do you think organizations can encourage more diversity in its ranks?
I think starting from the top management, how diverse is the executive team? Do they portray diversity and inclusion? Because it says a lot about the company culture. And we probably also need some policies to help women in the workforce to balance work and family. Yeah.
So let's talk about the women that are in the industry. How do you think women can support one another?
To me, it's very simple. We just need to ask for help when we need it. And because asking for help doesn't make us less capable, but rather more capable. Support each other and, help each other to be more capable. Yeah.
Very true, very true. And so for the people who are thinking about joining the industry, what about the industry do you think that you would like to share with them?
I think this industry is definitely exciting because we are in the technology business. Technology is always evolving, so it's fast paced. And you are the minority here, so definitely you have some interesting experience and interesting and rare experiences to gain from joining this industry.
It's quite true that there's a lot of changes going on in the tech industry, a lot of innovations cropping up all the time. How do you keep up?
That's one challenge actually for me because I have a family. To stay professionally relevant in this industry is actually one challenge for me. But I'm very fortunate that I have good managers to support me along the way.
Thank you, Huyin, for sharing your story. It's been very, very interesting listening to you. 5G is a very exciting field, and you are certainly in a very, very exciting role. Maybe as a last question, can you tell us what do you think will be the first 5G use case all of us are going to experience?
All of us as in consumer or
Yes,
from enterprise?
consumers.
Okay. Consumer, I believe it will be augmented reality or virtual reality. So this part of the applications would be made available to the consumer, I hope, as the first use case.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Wynthia.
And that's a wrap for NCS Women in Tech podcast. Thank you for joining me in this podcast. If you have feedback on our podcast or would like to join us to carve out a career in tech, follow us on our LinkedIn page, NCS Group, or feel free to drop us a line at reachus@ncs.com.sg.